Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWAS. Continuing on with Conference Championship Weekend, let's do the SEC. Georgia, Alabama, the game we've all been waiting for. Alabama is now catching 5.5 points in this one. Total sitting at 54. Is it 54.5? Yes, 54.5. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWAS. The SWAS. Hey, get the sauce.
So no question, the action's definitely coming in on Georgia in this one. This number opened at 4.5. It's been bet up to 5.5, and I'm seeing 6s out there. BetMGM has it at 6. BetRivers has it at 6. FanDuel's got a 6.5 open right here, so this number might not even be finished moving. So let's talk about this matchup, and obviously we got to start with the Georgia win streak. They've won 29 consecutive football games, as I'm sure you've heard. But you know what? Want to know who the last team they lost to was? Alabama. 2 years ago in the SEC championship game, this game. And Kirby Smart, during his tenure with Georgia, just 1-4 against Nick Saban. So if there's one team where all those Georgia win streaks, all those trends, all those patterns don't apply to, it's the Alabama game. The last 3 times these two teams met in the SEC championship game were all Alabama wins. Most recent is 2021 in the Bryce Young Heisman year. Alabama beat them 41-24. But as we know, Georgia got their revenge just a few weeks later in the national championship game. This particular matchup is going to look a little different, though, than the Alabama-Georgia games we're used to seeing. Number one reason being Georgia is a pass-first offense now, or at least an offense that relies a lot on the pass. They're 4th in effective pass, 11th in passing yards per game, and 10th in yards per pass attempt. That's actually a positive for Alabama, though, because the Crimson Tide have arguably the best pass defense in the country. They're 3rd in effective pass, 14th in yards per pass attempt allowed, 20th in passing yards per game allowed. We just saw Alabama struggle against Auburn. It certainly wasn't the pass defense that was struggling. Peyton Thorne was just 5 of 16 for 91 yards in the game, a 75 passer rating. This Alabama pass defense is really good. Even Jaden Daniels looked human against Alabama. Now, he left that game with an injury with 12 minutes and 54 seconds left in the 4th quarter. So these stats are pretty much only through 3 quarters and some change. But still, that 158 passer rating is the lowest of the season other than the week 1 game against Florida State. Jaden Daniels was having success on the ground against Alabama more so than the air. He had 11 carries for 163 rushing yards in that game. And the reason that's interesting, Carson Beck doesn't scramble. He's a pocket passer. So that area that was giving Alabama's defense problems in the LSU game, that doesn't exist in this matchup. All numbers are pointing towards Carson Beck having problems getting the pass game going here. Where Alabama may struggle defensively, though, is against the run. Georgia may have started this season off struggling to get the run going. Just 4.3 yards per carry through their first 5 games. But in their last 7, they're starting to look a little bit more like Georgia, 5.8 yards per carry. But you know what? We saw Tennessee slow this Georgia run game down. 156 yards on 3.9 yards per carry against the Vols. Now, they lit Tennessee up through the air. Carson Beck threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game, but the run game didn't do much. I don't think it's realistic to expect the Alabama defense to completely stop this Georgia offense. They're just too good. But Georgia's not going to just bully this Alabama defense like they have the rest of the SEC. On the other side of the ball, I think everyone owes Jalen Milroe an apology. He threw a couple picks in that Texas game all the way back in week 2, and everyone, including myself, was kind of like, this kid's not much of a passer. Alabama's offense is going to be one-dimensional this year. I said that too, so I'm not just pointing at you guys. I said it also. Well, look at his numbers since then. Completing 68% of his passes, over 230 yards per game, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a 185 passer rating, and 10 rushing touchdowns. Alabama is now up to 39th in effective pass. After the South Florida game in week 3, they were 90th. They're 3rd in the FBS in yards per pass attempt. This offense is just built for explosive plays down the field. Here's the problem. Nobody throws the ball in Georgia. Bulldogs defense is 7th in effective pass, 5th in yards per pass attempt allowed, 12th in passing yards per game allowed. Brady Cook couldn't throw in Georgia. Spencer Rattler, Graham Mertz, Jackson Dart, Joe Milton. There's some elite college football quarterbacks here. None of them could throw the ball in Georgia. So even though I've personally become a Jalen Milroe fan and I'm actually starting to think he's undervalued, there's just no way I can trust him here against this Georgia defense. Here's the good news for Alabama's offense, though. Georgia's defensive front seven is not the same as it has been in years past. Georgia's not even a top 25 run defense this year, just 27th in effective rush, 25th in rushing yards per game allowed, and 48th in yards per carry allowed. Look at Georgia's last 5 games. Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Georgia Tech. All 5 teams averaged over 4 yards per carry against this defense. This is not the Georgia defense of 2021 and 2022. You can run the ball on this team. That's music to Alabama's ears, because not only is Alabama the best rushing attack that Georgia's seen all season, but they've actually gotten better as the season progressed. Alabama was averaging just 3.5 yards per carry through their first 6 games of the season, 5.3 yards per carry, and well over 200 rushing yards a game in their last 6. So to me, what the numbers are saying, I think both quarterbacks are going to struggle to get the pass game going, but I like both offenses to be able to establish the run here, which is why I don't feel comfortable laying more than 3 points in this matchup. If this number was 2.5, I'd be taking Georgia, but anything 4.5 or higher, no doubt, I'm rolling with the Tide. Putting my faith in Nick Saban. He's done well against Kirby Smart with the exception of 1 game, so give me Alabama, +6, +6.5. I'll get the best number. I'll grab the best number I can find. Roll Tide. If you want our top bets for all sports, parlays of the day, or you'd like to join our Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. Conference championship weekend, NFL's on, NBA, college basketball, got all kinds of stuff going. Remember to bet responsibly, and I will talk to you in the Discord.